Live. For those that are not watching this live is about me talking about something I just did today that was kind of cray cray in regards of I put my business out there, personal business, but I say my business is personal and I can't say my business is personal if I'm not gonna be personal, you know what I'm saying? So if you're watching this video, still watching this video because you want to know how fear is holding you back, we'll unpack that. So, for those that have been watching me and following me, please make sure you like and subscribe. I want to ensure that I follow up with you. If you have any comments, please put in the. Please make sure you say something below. I'll always respond to my comments if you haven't already. Again, that's why I want you to like, subscribe, and if you like what you're hearing, please share it out in case you feel someone else needs to hear this too. So, as you probably have noticed, I'm in a different location. Um, I've been going to different locations uh, for the last couple of weeks just because the location I'm at hasn't been a good one. So, uh, I'm now getting set up at my uh, remote office here. And it's funny how I have an office, but when you're a consultant, um, at least from my standpoint, and I don't mind it. I like going to different places. It's good in that aspect. So I'm now on one going from one place to another place, and it's cool. So I haven't. I want to make sure. Uh, and I probably will go for a walk maybe, but maybe I won't. So let me just get into it because I believe when fear is holding you back, you are stuck. And you're stuck in a place where you don't want to be. And let me close my door so I don't interrupt or have anyone else come up in here. Um, so I just want to have a serious conversation for someone that scrolling through looking for some videos to talk about fear, and there's really not something that's going or hitting that spot. So I started to get on YouTube about a year ago when I said I was going to do these YouTube lives, and I wanted to find something, especially this time. I'm talking about fear and how I need to overcome it. For my mom passing, I had my daughters go through some serious medical stuff, and I, as a business owner, as an agency owner, as a consultant, as a professor, I try to wear all these different hats until the hats like I have is just they're breaking, they're breaking. So the title on here says like, how do you deal with fear, or how do like? And the thing is no one tells you how to go through it because it's you. Like some concepts. You may say, I'm gonna face everything and rise. You know what FEAR, face everything and rise, or it's like forget everything and run. And there's been times where I've came to the conclusion, and I'll just jump right into it. I read Will Smith's book. I watched Malice in the Palace, and Ron Artest and Will Smith said two things that made sense to me. I was a coward. I was a coward for the very fact that I was scared to handle the concerns, my my anxiety, my problems that I also helped create. Now, there's things that have been done to me, but there's things I've done to myself that I was no longer interested in maintaining the victim mentality. I do not want to be a victim. I am not a victim. Yes, things have been done to me, but I've also done things to myself. And Will Smith started his book out talking about being a coward. And man, you know how much I resonated with that? How much I resonated with just being a coward, resonated with not standing up for myself. It resonated with me on like coming on here. I'm like, oh, I want to see all these numbers, man. Who I don't like, especially when I'm talking to someone's about someone's marketing plan or their business plan, or they're, giving them some personal coaching or some tips. And it's like, man, like, yo, you are in this thing called life by yourself, and it's not easy. Like, there's no way, no perfect way out. You're gonna have to fight, claw, crawl, just do everything you can in your power to get to where you want to be. And it's not easy. But I promise you, on the other side of that, there's so much relief. Like, I sent out an email today, and I talked about, and I sent an email, it's a mass email to people that I knew personally, like on an intimate level, like for my clients and people I have had engagement with, to folks that I've never talked to outside my conference. Well, basically, I told them, look, this is the situation I am, and I failed. I failed in my business. I failed in my decision making. I failed as a person with have the right mindset. I failed. I failed, but I'm not a failure. I am failing to where I can make the best decisions of my life because I want to live the best life possible. For those that are still watching this video, it's because you understand that you can't, when you're honest with yourself, it's like there's no way out. There's absolutely no way out. Why are people, you might even ask the question to yourself, like, why are people not supporting me? Well, maybe because you're not supporting yourself. Let's just be real. You cried about it, right? I've cried many times. I i've had all these thoughts because I'm like, God, come rescue me. And it's like, no, Nathan, you need to rescue yourself. Like, Nathan, you need to focus on the things you need to focus on because only you can do them. You can take all these concepts, you can read all these books, you can watch these things on YouTube, TV, Netflix, and whatever the case may be. No matter what documentary, no matter what book, you can do the David Goggins. You can't hurt me. I'm taking souls, right? It doesn't matter because you still got to do the work of working on yourself and being honest that the fact that you are scared and not be in denial to say, I am scared and I have to move past that. I sent that email and I've been thinking about it because it's been 90 days since my conference. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna send this email. I'm gonna say, you know why? And I asked some people about it too, because I took counsel because I'm not trying to be stubborn. Good God, I've been stubborn. But what but what does the Bible say? The one that has too much pride is gonna fall. And God, hey JDS World 0815, the one that has a pride, you're gonna fall flat on your face. And on top of that, how do you know what you're going through? Hey, Rugal 70599. How do you know what you're going through isn't for you? Stop being selfish, right? And share it out because how do you know that is not going to bless somebody? So when I sent out, like, I'm doing all these things, I'm like, God, you got to tell me, you got to show me. You're what, Rugal, you said, thank you, sir. And someone said, "What's 5 9 plus 8? You mean it's 67? Is that? Are you trying to say 6 7 6 7? Is that what you're trying to get? Um, because I'm not scared to talk about that, but I was scared to talk about the real stuff that was going on because we want to be entertained instead of being entertained and focus on ourselves because from games to TV to all these different things. I'm scared to focus on me, but I'm happy to dive in to talk to somebody else and help them out, but I'm not trying to help myself out. And for those that are watching, I want to say thank you for following. Thank you for liking. No one's liked it just yet, but I know one of y'all will. So thank you for already liking the show. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. I appreciate it because I want to help someone. I got my first like. Thank you very much, whoever you. It was either I only got 3 people. I got 4 people. I have 5. I have 10 people. I get YouTube is sharing this out, and for me, it's not about the numbers because it's not just about real time. I want to answer any questions. So if you have questions about like fear, when I say forget everything and run, like you want to run, like you want to like I'm out this piece. I'm not doing this. Like, what does that look like? I'm not doing that. You can be like, I'm gonna be one of those people. Sorry, I'm just checking my communications here. Or you can be like, you know what? I'm going to crush it by face everything and rise. So like, hey, I don't need 1,000 people on here. I don't need 1,000 uh, subscribers or I'm grateful for my 9,000 subscribers, but if I'm in a room that only maybe 3 to 4 people can fit in here, and I'm grateful for you because I'm talking. I hope I can bless you in a way that your fear is just the doorway to a blessing. Like the blessing that you've been wanting, the blessing you've been seeking. Like you want a miracle. You might say, "Hey, like I really want to achieve this." Well, you haven't achieved it because more than likely you've been scared to confront your demons. You've been scared to confront the things that you don't want to do. Like the thing that you really need to do, you don't want to. And it's because I know out of experience, I would say if I did this, I there's no way for me to come back. If I did this, and this is annoying now, it's bumping, so my bad. I'm gonna make a little bit of noise here. I know for a fact that if I was to do this and I would go, I would do that, because I knew once I did this action, if I sent an email or I made a request, like sending an email or do a email submission, or I made a phone call or I went to a meeting, I knew for a fact my life would be forever changed. And I think my next podcast, I'm gonna talk to you about one of the biggest things. If you don't know, I do a podcast every Monday. It comes out. I I'm going to talk about fear because the psychology of the fear and everything. Like I said, Will Smith talked about it. David Goggins talked about it. That you can look at Will Smith and see all the things he did to overcome his fears of like height and water and all that stuff, right? You can go to Netflix and watch Malice in the Palace and Ron Artest, aka I'm sorry, I should say Metta World Peace. He talked about it. Metta World Peace, also known as formerly known as Ron Artest, played for the Indiana Pacers, um, where they had a championship squad and they were going to win that championship. And then they had that fight where he ran into the crowd and that dismantled their team. And he won the championship with the Lakers. And he said, like, I was a coward. He says, I'm here getting this ring, but yeah, I don't deserve this ring because I should have gotten the ring with my fellow players uh, that had my back. Jermaine O'Neal, one of the could have been the greatest players in that time in that era, but he let them down. He failed them. Like you not doing your best is you also holding someone else back from their doing their best. You're not allowing them to be what God has called them to be because there's only one of you, right? When I wear my BU shirt, right? I've been wearing myself for probably a good 6 years now, and it's starting to hit me upside my head and piercing my heart like none other because I have been a coward. I can honestly say I've been a coward and stubborn about it, not because I'm like I didn't think it's not like I didn't act and courageous in things. I didn't do things that I wasn't scared to do. No, I did things uh or I didn't do things that I should have done because I was scared, right? And just the simplest thing. So, okay, all right. So I told you about the email I sent out. Um, and I had some time to really think about this, and um, the time that I went to Kenya for the very first time, I was scared. But I was scared for the stupidest reasons, and it's easily I could have just went to the computer and searched some things up, but I was scared from all the images and things that were said in the media. It was kind of dumb. Like, and wait, I'm like, why am I scared of going back to the motherland? Why am I scared of going back to where we know where businesses get a lot of the resources? Why am I scared to go to a place where there's so many people going there? I didn't know not just Kenya, but South Africa, uh, Nigeria, Ghana, Sierra Leone, other Tanzania. So many places in Africa are so rich in diamonds and gold and so many precious metals and food, from coffee beans. Like when I got there, I was like, oh my gosh, this is nothing at all I expected. But I was so scared to go because it was so outside my comfort zone. So that's the thing I want to talk to you about, your comfort zone. So I get it. Or have this mindset that we want to stay comfortable. But for what? Comfort as in you're gonna be comfortable all day long, like, as in you're not gonna move, or comfort in, like, I don't have to work, but, when you remain comfortable, you don't do anything that's courageous. You stay in a state of cowardness. I don't know how to say it, cowardness, cowardness. I was a coward, from never going outside my comfort zone in the last few years that I made some courageous decisions, but I didn't continue that momentum. I always say in marketing, when I tell my clients, marketing is momentum. And I believe you overcoming your fear is momentum. You don't want to stop that momentum. You don't want to stop that at all, because when you stop the momentum of you making hard decisions, uncomfortable decisions, like having uncomfortable conversations, I think you rob yourself of the greatest gift of getting on the other side and getting that victory that you need. So, I appreciate what YouTube has done for me, which is the next thing. When I went to Kenya, my girl at the time, she says, "Hey, you should record. You can do like a vlog." And I'm like, "Girl, are you crazy?" So I said, "Okay, fine. I'll do this vlog." And when I started recording, I was just like, wow, this is extremely difficult. I don't know. Like, not only did I not have a good, like, I wasn't having the best time I thought I was. Like, at the moment, I was like, this sucks, right? And she also told me to do the golf trip that I take every July with my buddies, and I was like, man, I'm not shooting good. I'm not having a good time. Like, this really sucks. Like, how come it's not working? And I was upset. Why is this not? It's funny how some things work and some things don't want to work. I'm just checking some stuff here. And for those that have questions, feel free to ask any questions you have. But thank you for the other like. I appreciate it. And for those that haven't subscribed, please do so. We'd love to have your support. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to put them in the comments below. So I started to do the vlog style when I went to Kenya, when I went golfing. And you talk about me being a coward. I was just like, initially I was scared, but then I was like, I'm just gonna do it. And what's crazy is when you watch my videos when I was in Kenya, I have a playlist you can go to. It was crazy. Did you see my face? I was all broken out. I was all broken out in my Kenya videos because I was stressed. And what's crazy about stress, and this is the part of fear that no one says about, is your body creates this chemical that if you don't get out, if it doesn't get out of your body, obviously it can do some damage. Well, in my face, and I have a sleep machine I put on. My girl was like, "How come? Do you clean this?" I was like, "No." She says it's all oily and everything. So she started to help me clean it and everything. I'm like, "Okay," and it started to go away. But like, if you go to my videos, you'll see that it was all broke. Like I was like broken out all right here because that's where my sleep machine goes. But then on my head, I was broken out too. And I've had this sleep machine for like 5 plus years. I've never, ever, 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 ever had that happen to me. I was such in a state of stress at that moment. If I didn't record, here's the biggest blessing when you step out of fear, step out of your comfort zone, step into your God's gift of calling. When you step out, that my whole trip in Kenya, me recording that, I go back and watch it, and I was like, wow, I had a really good time. But at the time, man, I was not having the best time. But when I look back on that, I was like, man, you would never know I was having a bad time. We like to focus on the bad things, especially when we want to stay comfortable, because we're looking at all the ways and all the things to soothe us rather than overcoming the things that we need to, because that's what gives us joy. And when you overcome, you look back and you're like, man, I did that. Man, look at that. I did that. I did that. Of course, I had help, especially when I went golfing when I was in Nairobi. She recorded it, so I had it. She did a great job recording and everything, so I was able to use that. But I think it's so interesting. At the time, I was still grieving from my mom's death. My daughters had some medical emergencies, like medical emergencies, like life-threatening emergencies. I'm like, this is tough. Like this is tough. I don't know how I'm gonna get through. But I couldn't be a coward. So today, when I sent that email, it was me holding on to something of this called ego, this pride, and asking myself, really, does this really me not sharing this information or me not being honest with the situation or me being in denial what the situation is, how is this helping me? I had to be honest with myself because again, I can read all the books, watch all the documentaries, I can talk to whomever, but I have to do the work. And when I do the work, that is leaning into my fear, leading out of my comfort zone and doing something I've never done before. And you know how good it feels? You know how freeing it is? Like I haven't felt so free like this in the longest because at that moment I was now I'm living the life that I know God has want me to do. And I'm doing the things that I'm happy with. But it's only because I said I'm not going to be a coward anymore. But I had to like when I read it first in Will Smith's book when he talked about being a coward and he talked about how his dad would beat his mom and how he was like, man, if I ever got the chance to revenge my mom, I'm going to because he felt himself as a coward. He started like his book that way. I'm just like, how is this dude that has all this money, has all these great, all these accolades, married to like this beautiful woman, have these kids? How is he going to talk about being a coward? At the end of the day, we're all humans. At the end of the day, we are all going through life, and life is hard. And I love doing these lives because for those that want to talk back to me, I'm giving you the opportunity to talk back to me in real time, no matter where you're at. Um, I'm not gonna be like a I show speed and or a what's his name, and they doing all these skits. That's them because that's them. But for me, when I say be you and be you, I'm trying to help that one person that is going to hear this because they're looking at a situation in their life and they're saying like, I don't know how I'm going to make it. You're going to make it because you're going to do something uncomfortable, and you're going to allow this fear to propel you. You're going to use this fear to encourage you. You're going to use this fear to put you in the place where you want to be because when you overcome this fear, you're going to be blessed beyond what you could imagine. me doing this YouTube channel that I started, I say I'm in my freshman year of doing YouTube, has blessed me to where I've gotten clients, I have improved relationships, I have improved my self-esteem. I'm 47 years old. I'm still working on me. This has been one of the best ways I have improved my mindset, my spiritual walk, my me looking at myself. I'm like, this is what I look like. I need to get my butt in shape. I lost um I've lost over 40 pounds and I've kept it off and I'm getting back, but I've gotten leaner. I eat healthier. I'm a better father. I'm a better friend, but I'm there. I show up for my people more because now I'm watching how I show up, and like, oh, I'm thinking like I show up this way because we weren't meant to look at ourselves. And as I watch myself, I'm just like, who that be? Like that's me. That's what I look like. Oh, I gotta fix that. Like, look, I even got like some ball sparks right here, right? And I'm like, I don't care. That's what it is. What it is. Like, do I care? Sure, I care. I don't want to be going bald, but I can't fix it. So why am I gonna like be insecure about it? So when it comes to just life, and I'm just there. You go. See now, it froze because now uh I sent that email and people are hitting me up, so I need to put my stuff on do not disturb. Because sorry about that, but when it comes to certain things, um, you know, you can only, or not, you can only, you're only going to get what you put out there. And if you want to be great, you need to be great in all areas. You, as ET would say, like, you, um, you can't win in one area of life and think it's gonna permeate or bleed over to the other areas in life. You gotta have a triple double. You gotta win in your personal life, your professional life, and your spiritual life. That could be financially too. That can be in your fitness. That can be and just keeping things real and not be in denial. Because when Will Smith talked about being a coward, I'm like, Will Smith, I grew up with Will Smith, and you trying to tell me Will Smith is a coward? There's no way that you're gonna tell me Will Smith believes he's a coward. But hold on, he put this in his book. He put this in his book. Why would Will Smith say that he's a coward? And for those that just joining, I appreciate it. Hey, please, if you like what you're hearing, like it. If you have any questions about fear, or if you're going through something with fear, feel free to comment below. Because again, I'm here sharing my own experiences. I'm sharing what I know I have struggled with, and I am getting blessed, and I want you to be blessed too. I want you to be blessed. Like, do you know that you have a huge miracle on the other side of you? Basically, when we talk about being a coward, instead of being a coward, all you're doing is saying, look, I'm going to stand up for myself on this other side. This is a coward. This is courage. I'm standing up for myself. I'm going to start standing up for myself. What does standing up for yourself look like? And again, you don't need to have a lot of people to do something like to support you. I don't need to have anyone here. I'm grateful for my four people that are here. Thank you for being here. I'm grateful to see that I had numbers that go up to 8 to 10 to 12. I'm grateful for all the people that are joining, but all of them are not going to stay. At the end of the day, I just have me. I just have me. And just like you have you. And can you look yourself in the mirror every day, in the morning, afternoon, and evening, and say to yourself, I am standing up for myself. When I sent that email today, there was a huge weight that was lifted. And again, I talked to a couple people. I'm just tired of just being ashamed. But it honestly is nothing that I'm ashamed. When I think back about it, I was like, why am I ashamed? I'm doing something ain't no one else is doing. I'm I'm creating opportunities that no one else is doing. I'm a trailblazer and I'm figuring this stuff out as I go. Like no one's doing this. No one's helping me do this at the level I needed to execute on because I'm failing more than I'm succeeding, but that successes feel so great. And I'm like, man, this is awesome. So like I am so grateful that I have people in my corner. I appreciate all the support. And the support is also coming from like I believe the support comes when you are courageous and you do something that no one would think you would do and they go like, "You did that? Why why would you do that? Why would you do that?" Like why would you put yourself out there? Because, like I said, fear can have two meanings. Fear can mean I'm going to face everything and rise, or secondly, I'm going to forget everything and run. And I'm sorry, y'all. There's so many people that have helped me in my life to where why would I forget everything and run? I have gone through so many trials and it succeeded. So why would I forget everything and run? Why am I facing everything and rising? My fear, why is my fear my fuel? Is because I know that because of my prior successes, I know the more familiar I get with this fear, the more I get to the place I want to be. And what was painful a month, 2, 3 months ago, a year ago, is now common. And I can give a perfect example. When I first started podcasting over 10 years ago, I would record the podcast and then I would edit it and I'd be like, I'm done for the day. That was exhausting. I would then another example, I would record a podcast or I go teach and I would be done. I would be exhausted. I started teaching multiple classes at the college level. I would record multiple podcasts at the same day, and I have client meetings. I had to build my endurance. I had to build my muscle to do these things. I didn't have that before. And so when you are continuously putting yourself out there, out going outside your comfort zone, when you are telling not just all the people that are watching because man even I've been watching Mr. Beast stuff for a minute now and he was like, why are you so obsessed about videos? Like it's not that big of a deal. Like why are you wanting to continue to do this until you make it big and now people say, hey, great job, I always knew you could do it. No one's clapping for you as you're struggling. You got to clap for yourself. You got to pat yourself on the back. You got to celebrate your own victories. You got to let yourself know in the mirror, morning, afternoon, in the evening, that you got this. You know, having fear is normal, just like pain is normal. Have you seen, like, do you know that there's people that can't feel pain? Is I find that interesting because I'm like, everyone experiences pain, but then you think of people that don't experience pain and they're like, oh shoot, well, how do they know something's hot? How did it's cold? Or not to stop doing that. That pain is a warning system to let you know that you shouldn't be doing it. If you are doing something you shouldn't be doing, right, that pain is going to stop you. Well, fear, we can use fear in the same way. That fear means you have to propel yourself to the next level because it's like you're on a bridge and that bridge is on fire. And if you're gonna be on that bridge, that you're not gonna be able to keep going. But that's what fear is. And then it's either you can either move forward or you're gonna move backwards. I don't believe there's such thing as staying where you are. If time doesn't stand still, why do you get to stand still? Why do you not get to move? Again, when I read Will Smith's book about no, I read Can't Hurt Me, David Goggins book first, and it was like, ah. And then I read um I read Will Smith's book. And then I read another book. It was Permission to Break by someone local. Her name was Rashida Saunders, and she broke some stuff down about how just being a cop and how she was just going through. You have this you have this you give this perception of we put it out there of this is who I am, and I don't know if that's what she was trying to go for, um, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel that as a black man, and I can only speak on my behalf as a black man, I went into the Marine Corps, and I thought I was trying to do some things, and David Goggins talked about this in some respects about his race and not fitting in, and he didn't get into the most elite special forces group. And I think about that with Will Smith, of why he said like in order for him to be a super juggernaut, he had to entertain places to where he had his movie launches. He not only had a movie launch, but he put on concerts. He did all these kind of crazy things. But there's something about when you continue to put yourself out there, you have to put this face on, and it's almost like it's it's this face, but sometimes it's a shield, and a it's not always accurate to how you feel. And you just say, hey, look, I got to do it because you want to reach your goals, but sometimes you don't realize, not sometimes, yeah, sometimes it's like you don't want to do it. If you being real, but you're like, hey, I got to pay the bills. Bills don't pay themselves. But you stay in this comfort zone and you're like, man, um, I'm just going to be here. But you can't stand still. Time won't allow you to stand still. And with time, we have days, we have weeks, we have months, we have seasons. And in all seasons, mm-mm. In the seasons of life, your fear is not going to, you're not moving to where you want to be because your fear says it's just for you to stay here, get comfortable, relax. But eventually, I'm gonna have to, even from today, get up out of this chair. I got meetings to go to. I need to eat. Gonna need to use a bathroom. But if my fear is saying to keep me here, I'm gonna have a miserable life. And I this is a little bit longer than I typically go. I only go like 30 minutes of my live, and no one's engaging, so that's cool. But I still want to bless those that watch this later, and those that are joining. Thank you for the likes and the subscribes. I remember going to counseling, and the counselor said, "What you going through is trauma." And she asked, like, "Do you know what trauma is?" I'm like, "No, I don't know what trauma is." She was like, "Well, trauma is where a person is stuck in their current reality when they were a victim." And you ever heard the saying, "Hurt people hurt"? And it took me a while to get it, but basically, for those that never heard it, is when hurt people hurt others, they cause the same pain they received. That's why they hurt other people, because they're hurt. So it took me a while to get there, but that's the trauma. We stay in the trauma, and even though and she was like, you know, you may have been a victim, but now you're acting out and you're not the victim. You're not a victim right now. You're the offender. And that hurt because I'm like, but I have this pain. And she was like, well, let's focus on that. But in order to focus on that, we got to focus on what's keeping you doing that. And it's coming back to, I was scared. When you're scared, you can lash out, right? You can lash out, right? That doesn't make it right. You ever think about that? Like, and so when starting off, when I read Will Smith's book, um, I mean, he started off as a coward, and I watched the documentary with Metta World Peace when he said I was a coward, and he couldn't even look in the camera to say like I got this ring and celebrate it. Like I've never, and maybe he does celebrate it, but um, he was like, man, to Stephen Jackson, Jermaine O'Neal, to Reggie Miller, the GOAT, Reggie Miller, to the Indiana Pacers. He was just looking down. Watch it. It's on Netflix. Watch it. It's on Netflix when it comes to him. Now, look, I give him all respect. Like, I love Dagan Goggins, like taking souls, but from Will Smith, like he talks about the cliff top too. Y'all gonna have to go through it. But when Metta World Peace talks about it, even Stephen Jackson and Jermaine O'Neal, Reggie Miller, they talk about it, and even Indiana, I don't know his name, but they talk about how they take responsibility. Because when you look back on it, he was like he had problems, like because we all got problems. But in the time that you have problems, like, do you really think about how that's going to impact others around you? Um, and I didn't know that my pain and me overcoming my fears can either bless people or they can hurt people. And so I realized that I don't want to hurt people anymore. I want to bless people. So that's why I wanted to do this live and talk about fear. You'll see in the podcast when it comes out on uh, the the 17th, wait, the 14th, 15th, 16th, February the 16th, about you needing to overcome your fear, because it's not about the fear, it's about the blessing that you want to receive. So, thank you for liking the live. Thank you for going to my channel. Thank you for supporting. I I want you to face everything and rise. And sometimes you might need a freeze, but don't forget everything and run. There's people, including most importantly yourself, that need to face it, because your blessing is right on the other side of that door. So open that door, bust it down, crack it open, do what you gotta do, and say, boom, I'm here. Let's go. I wish you nothing but the best. So dream big and Godspeed. I'm out.